Welcome back, fairies, goblins, humans, and whatever else is out there. It's Mysterious Funny, bringing you another mysterious and funny video. If you haven't already, go ahead and put on your love's diapers, you're gonna need them. Go ahead and hit that like button and kick that subscribe button, and we're going right in. Right into the forest. Paranormal World, Part 3. If you hear a bell in the woods, hightail it out of there.
I was back home for the summer for the first time in a year after starting university. Our home was still just outside of a small town with forest all around. There was also a small man-made lake, which was diverged from a river that ran for miles through the forest and ramified into a few streams east of the lake. Near my home, there was a small grassy path that led to the river following a stream. It was a long walk, but one I used to go on often as a child. I knew the forest well there. I knew where I could cut through the dense trees to meet the stream. The walk I would always go on led me off the path, which turned northwest slowly, so away from the stream, and then took a sharp turn to the west after a few-mile walk, at which point the stream was hidden quite deep into the forest. I continued the walk north and followed the stream through the forest to get to the river. Then, followed the river west to get to the lake. It's very easy to get lost in this forest because of the terrain. It's not just a slope down to the water. It goes up and down, and you end up completely surrounded by trees. I'd spent many days wandering around there alone with my dad over the span of 18 years. Never saw anyone else in the forest. But that would all change. I went there twice that summer. Both times alone-ish. The first time I left in the morning. I walked along the path away from the stream to the sharp end and cut back to the forest. I reached the stream after an hour or so. As I was running my hands in the water, I heard a bell from far away, coming from the north. Something was making a bell ring, fervently and periodically, which I found very strange. I listened well, wondered if it was a lost hunting dog and started moving toward the sound. I realized, no, it couldn't have been an animal. I could tell the bell was too heavy because of how clear the sound was to me on the collar. I kept moving and the bell was moving away from me. It stopped completely after 5 minutes. The stream wasn't big enough or strong enough to carry a bell. Like it had been enclosed in a tent or something. And the river was too far still. I thought of everything, but nothing explained the sound, apart from one obvious thing, which I just didn't feel comfortable with for some reason. I knew it had to have been a person. I stopped thinking about it and just walked on normally. And then I see a badger. A freaking dead one, with its head cut off. A very clean cut, done with a knife obviously. It was fairly fresh. The body was still limp, but there wasn't too much smell coming from it. The wound was full of maggots, but I knew that happened soon after exposure. The sound of the bell had been following the stream. So maybe the badger was put there, maybe killed there, that very day, that very way. 1 week later, I went back the second time this summer and the last time ever. I left home around 6 p.m. I made it to the stream, walked to the river in an hour, then decided to go back the way I came because it was getting late and it was raining quite heavily. The sun set around 9. I was walking as fast as I could. The sound of the rain and the trees was surreal and loud. I was jogging somewhat in the clearest and most open part of the forest, and then I bumped my head into something heavy, and the smell was sickly. It was the decomposing body of the badger, with its head strung to its front paws. I was half running, half walking away from the stream back towards the path for a while, when I heard the bell again. I proceeded to call my dad while running. I told him to meet me on the path where it sharply turns west. It was the closest part of the path to me, to go as fast as he could, and that someone was in the forest. I can't explain the feeling I had. It was like I had shit out my intestines and my stomach. I literally felt the hairs on my neck raised despite being soaked. It was dark. I jogged as fast as I could. Panicked because the path was still a bit far away, just too far to feel safe. It was still pouring. Every single sound was muffled. I felt like everything was further away than ever before. The bell went on for a way longer time than last. On and off. Felt like it was surrounding me at one point. The fear combined with my compromised hearing and the fact that I couldn't sleep and breathe properly was making me slightly lose my sense of direction. I was automatically heading southwest, but I wasn't really sure what I was even doing. I was breathing like a 500-pound man, coughing my lungs up, crying very loud like a toddler, tripping over leaves and twigs like a fool. I stayed on the phone with my dad and mom, who were on their way. I did continue to hear sounds, and I didn't know what they were. My mom screaming on the phone at the same time that they were on the path that I needed to run, that my dad had gotten out and was headed east from the path then. I was so terrified I went into survival mode. I was doing the half-running, half-speed walking thing again because I was out of breath. Then I heard the branches break, clear footsteps for the first time from down in the forest, and the bell ringing louder and louder. I didn't want to, but I looked over my shoulder. And that was when I saw what was ringing the bell. A tall figure creeping in my direction at the very end of the clearing, ringing his bell slowly in front of his stomach. I could tell he was staring directly at me. All the adrenaline rushed through me like running waters. I was sprinting faster than I ever had in my life. And I did not look back. I felt like something awful was about to happen, like the man was right behind me. I told myself not to look back. Gasping and wheezing, crying so hard and screaming for my dad, I felt shivers on my neck, and then switched off. I just ran. I even dropped my bag and only realized I didn't have it anymore when I was in the car. Felt like the phone was my only way home. Now nothing has felt real. It was like my legs were moving by themselves. Didn't know if that man was still following me. I could only hear my heart beating in my ears. And the bell, of course. I finally heard my dad shout my name, and I knew he was coming my way and that he would see me because of the intonation of his voice. I pretty much lunged myself at him. When we got to each other, my dad heard the bell as well. My mom could hear it on the phone. She was waiting with the car ready to leave so fast.
And that's it for today's story. If you liked today's video, go ahead, roundhouse kick that like button. Put green beans in the subscribe button cereal and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any videos like this. There's also a YouTube channel I follow named Mr. Ballen. That's where I got the story from originally, and there are also many more dark and mysterious stories. So I definitely recommend checking him out. The link will be in the description below.